After 8 hours between flights in Doha Airport, it was finally time to board my first ever Qsuite flight. And I was excited to try the world's best business class, but I was also tired and straight away got off to a bad start. While we're still on the ground, a passing flight attendant saw my camera and told me, "No filming." If I want to film, I can only film out of the window, which would make this a pretty boring video. As we pushed back and taxied, I was now both tired and grumpy. And as you enjoy this takeoff into bright blue skies, I'll tell you what happened next. Oh, I'm Phil, by the way. I'm on a grey gap year. Once the seatbelt sign went out, I went into the galley and I spoke to the crew. I explained to them what I was doing. I assured them I wouldn't film the crew, and if a face was in the footage, it'd get blurred out. This didn't move them at all. Filming isn't allowed. They couldn't give me permission. So I took it from a different angle. Well, what is permitted? I want to take a photo on my phone of my food. Is that okay? How about a selfie with some champagne? Well, yeah, that's okay. What if a selfie turns into a short video for Instagram? Well, that's okay. And so I eventually followed this path until I got to a point where I was able to film me and my food and my seat. The no filming staff was a red line, which if you know me, you know that that's not something I do anyway. So the filming ban wasn't lifted, but it was relaxed into something a bit more common sense. Cheers. This isn't the popular view, but the first time I sat in the Qsuite, I was underwhelmed. I know this goes against the grain and I don't know what I was expecting, but I felt the seat had been overhyped. Maybe I was just feeling tired, but my first impressions were, I'm not blown away. But the Qsuite is a suite, and it was first introduced in 2017, but it hasn't been rolled out and never will be rolled out across the entire fleet. With the doors closed, it's a nice private space. The doors are tall and they do actually add to the feeling of privacy, and it's a decent spacious seat to sit in. The seat control panel's got a lot of buttons, but the only real difference to the other business seats seem to be that it goes backwards and forwards, which gets you the perfect distance from the tray table. But of course, with other seats, rather than move the seat backwards and forwards, you just move the tray table forwards and backwards. But this isn't as easy as you might think in a Qsuite, because the tray table is contoured to fit the contours of the suite. And you might notice it sticks out even when it's stowed. I mean, if you don't notice it now, you probably will when you're trying to get some sleep, because it's not just a tray table, it doubles as a knee smasher. Around the seat, there's some very clever features, like this adjustable armrest. Now, as an armrest, I love this, but it's also a storage bin, and unfortunately as a storage bin, it's kind of a bit lacking. It holds your headphones, it holds a bottle of water, but with this excess plastic in it, you just won't get your shoes in here. You do have this clever two-shelf system to put your bits and bobs on. This is where the headphone jack is, the universal plug and the USB power socket. Plug your phone in and you can charge it on a short cable. It isn't going to get in the way. It's excellent design. Personal air vents, which came in handy when I was trying to sleep later. It was just so hot. The in-flight entertainment screen is big and bright and responsive, and I think this screen is going to be hard to beat in business class. There's plenty of movies and there's plenty of TV shows. Some of the TV shows are complete box sets. It really is an excellent in-flight entertainment system. Although I didn't film them on this flight, Qatar's business class headphones are noise cancelling and they're as good as my Bose headphones, which is my yardstick for this. And there's a handheld remote on a cable which I use to watch their interactive maps. I don't know why I was drawn to these. I spent a huge chunk of time just staring at the maps. Did I mention I was tired? I really just wanted to eat and go to sleep, and the start of food service was really welcome, but Qatar have dine on demand, so I probably should have just gone to sleep and then eaten when I woke up. But you know, you live and learn. So the tray table was laid, the bread was delivered, and it really is excellent bread for airline bread. I don't think I've had better bread in the air. And to start, I had the meze, and everybody raves about this, but again, I wasn't wowed by it. I like pita and hummus, I like tabbouleh, this red pepper dip, I enjoyed it all, but I just wasn't wowed by it. It was just kind of mid. Not a touch on the tuna starter I had on the flight before. So onto the main course and onto the beef, grilled tenderloin with a wild mushroom jus. In fact, those mushrooms weren't wild, they were absolutely livid when they were picked. The presentation of the main was good, but not great, maybe a 4 out of 5. And the meat was, well, it was an airline steak, and this was okay. cooked all the way through, probably 3 out of 5. I've had lots of comments about the chicken makbous, which is the pick of the Qatar bunch. That's what I'll have next time I fly with them. Although the steak was so-so, the sauce was excellent and really took the dish up to another level, and the mash was also creamy and buttery and really tasty. The only problem here is it's supposed to be bubble and squeak, which it isn't. And to go with my main, I chose a very nice Bordeaux red. But overall, it was a good main course. It did work well together. I eventually managed to get one of the crew to help me with the bed, and one thing I learned on this flight, if you want something you have to ask for it, because at no point was I able to catch the eye of a passing flight attendant. Now, I'm not a fan of pressing the call bell, but this flight taught me that in business class, if you want something, ding the bell. And once the bed was made up, I actually found it a little bit awkward to get into it. But the bed was incredibly comfortable. I didn't film the foot cubby, but it is spacious, as is often the case when the seats are in this alternating pattern. And it was so comfortable, I fell asleep with the camera on and it just kept recording until it finally overheated. And I woke up after getting about, 5 or 6 hours sleep. I don't know why I turned the camera back on, but I thought you might appreciate this footage, seeing the more glamorous side of long distance flying. The Bog Standard. The toilet was definitely above the Bog Standard airline toilet, with a bit of extra space, extra lighting. It's got this vanity mirror, these rather cute drawers with dental and shaving kits in them, and it's got like this, I guess it's granite or stone and wood effect finishes. I really liked the bathroom, and of course it was spotless. The crew dashed in and out every time a passenger used it. So this is the Diptyque Amenity Kit. It's better than the one in the box. It's sealed, so let's get that open. First things first, let's have a look inside and see what it's like. Hopefully it's a bit better than the one that came in a cardboard box. So it's got the socks and a leaflet. Oh no. Okay, we'll have a look in there. So we've got the eau de toilette and it's got the socks. They're the same. And it's got this lovely little sort of amenity bag here. Let's just open them up and have a look. So yeah, it's the same amenities. They're just in a slightly different packaging, a much nicer packaging in fairness, much nicer than that silly cardboard box. So we've got the little bag that they come in, and that's nice. It's much nicer than the cardboard box. But then you've got the face cream, and then you've got some lip balm, and then some lotion, body lotion, and the little eau de toilette. Now I don't know if this is a men's one or a women's one, or if they're sort of all unisex. But that's quite a nice little kit. It's much nicer than the box. I wanted to show you one of the light options, and I thought that the brunch platter sounded interesting because none of the items on it sounded like they would go with any of the others. But when it was served, the presentation was 5 out of 5. 3 of the 6 platter items are actually very good. The seared tuna, those dumplings are prawn shumai, and the crowning glory, an open sandwich of rare beef. All 3 of these were excellent, the best food that I ate on this flight by a long way. I did have to unwrap my own cutlery though, like I was on British Airways, but this was just a light meal, so somehow I managed. And shortly before landing, I was offered a hot towel, or as Amy Santiago calls it, a boiled rag, and I was also given the customary Qatar chocolates, which is a nice touch and a good way to end well.
Welcome to Bali, where the local time is 10:15 p.m. For your safety.
Everyone raves about Qsuite, but I was underwhelmed when I first sat in it. It grew on me, and it is an excellent seat. I think I need to try another flight, a day flight perhaps, in Qsuite, and make sure I'm well rested this time before I pass judgment. And the service underwhelmed me a bit too. I'm not sure if the crew were at fault, but they waited to be asked all the time, but then they did leap into action. Now these were my thoughts as I walked through the terminal. So it's currently 10:30 at night here in Bali, and it's 2:30 in the afternoon in Birmingham. So just 24 hours of travel from wheels up to wheels down. Crew are different to what I'm used to. You kind of have to ask them. They'll do anything you want. They'll be there in seconds. They'll get it done the moment you need it. But you have to ask them. They won't just come and check in on you every few seconds. It was a very efficient, standoffish kind of things. Once I got used to it, once I knew that I just had to press the bell, someone will come and do it. That's it. Don't worry about everything else. then I really actually preferred that. I really liked that style of service. It was great. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please do give me a like, and maybe you'd consider subscribing to the channel. So thank you for watching and joining me on my great gap year.